So, why I think Peter Obi and the Labour Party will lose the 2023 presidential election? Oh, well, the Labour Party have making a lot of noise lately with Peter Obi, and they actually still remain the underdogs, and only in an exceptional scenarios do underdogs actually pull out a victory. So basically in life, for an underdog to come out victorious, a near perfect performance is always needed. So you need to know what you're doing, and then with a little bit of luck. In Nigeria political scene, this translates to understanding the politics of Nigeria. So I mean, understanding how the game is played. So you have to understand your opposition. One, you have to understand the major parties. You have to understand the major players, and not just parties, so people as well. And then you have to understand the voters. Now, the Labour Party have done some things right. I think they understand some major players. We've seen Peter Obi going around trying to meet some people like Babangida and Obasanjo. But I don't think he actually understands the opposition. Neither does he understand the majority of the voters. I'm going to explain why. Now, the Labour Party's failure to secure any measure, number one, is a huge detriment. Till date, they are yet to secure any measure with any other party. This is very difficult for me personally to understand. How can they think of winning a presidential election in Nigeria without merging with anyone? The only reason the APC could be a major player at the national level in Nigeria, at the presidential level, PDP would still be ruling Nigeria till today if the APC wasn't formed through a coalition of several parties. But yet, the Labour Party are adamant, thinking it's just enough. They are enough for Nigerians. Oh well. It's smart people learn from other people's experience. So you need to be scientific. Like if you watch my video on the APC, I mentioned only APC have so far been scientific in their approach. The only place that they faulted so far is in choosing Tinubu as their presidential flag bearer, which is going to be difficult. If Tinubu wasn't so desperate to be next president, or to be a president of Nigeria, the APC should have a smooth sail, because the other parties are only faltering to the save. So any other party other than the APC or PDP with the hope of winning the Nigerian presidential election in the past, in 2023 or in whatever future, but refuses to merge with other parties, I don't see how this works. I mean, it's easy to say you are whatever party it is actually going to labor in vain. No scientific approach. So they have to learn from their own mistakes. Hence, they are going to learn from failing, which is a bitter experience, but they're going to learn. Which means they can come out victorious after 4 years of contesting and failing, or after 8 years of contesting and failing. But they could achieve that aim now. And I'm going to make a video explaining how the Labour Party can actually achieve that and what they are failing to do. You might agree with me or you might disagree with me. You can write your thoughts in the comment sections. and maybe we can have a discussion. If you are well enlightened, we could have a discussion to more on it, and we'll see how that goes. Or I might take your thoughts into consideration and see how scientific it is. So the Labour Party have to be scientific. They need to understand that they do not have a structure good enough to win a governorship election in Nigeria. I mean, we just saw what happened in Osun State. They had a very, very good candidate in Osun State. Very good candidate. If he keeps on contesting, I think he could win in 20 years' time, probably. He could win the Osun State the governorship election in Osun State in 20 years' time, because he is a good candidate, actually. Yeah. So one way to build structures politically in Nigeria is through easily merging with other parties. It can be so difficult. You have to make compromises. Of course, I understand the NNPP stake, but the Labour Party didn't do good enough to be able to convince the NNPP. In my own position, my own point of view, you have to reach a merger. You need to negotiate. You need to form that merger with the NNPP, because as things stands right now, I think neither the NNPP nor the Labour Party can win the presidential election. Neither can any other party other than the APC or the PDP. So how do you reach out to people in every other Nigerian locality? One knows about P2OB basically only on social media and the television, probably. Most people who are able to afford the television or a smartphone are in the minority of Nigerians. And you should understand that most of these people with a smartphone, those on social media, are Nigerians living abroad. And we have a lot of Nigerians living abroad, if you should understand where I'm coming from. So these supporters will not magically translate to votes on election day. How many of them are actually going to come out to vote? Most of them are comfortable, regardless of who is in power. They know how to make their money in Nigeria. Barring a few people who are yet to be able to help themselves. So here on Uptown State, we try to improve the minds of people generally. So focused on Nigerians, improving the minds of Nigeria, the knowledge of Nigerians, and on how to be a better person, how to focus to be able to achieve a greater goal, how to be a better person, how to be a better individual, how to be the best one of the best in the society, not just educationally but knowledge-wise, trying to make people smart, knowing what to do at the right time, or being able to be scientific about whatever you do so that you'll be able to achieve your best, the best you can when you try to do that, when you try to do whatever you do. So we're just starting out, and over time the plan is to be able to get us in a place that we can actually be able to impact the lives of a lot of people in Nigeria, especially in Africa, and we'll see how that goes. So back to the Labour Party. I think the Labour Party needs to form a nationwide structure, especially in the local areas of Nigeria, in the trenches, else their votes will only be restricted to the major Nigerian cities. And the PDP and the APC will also be winning most of those cities. I mean, Tinubu is from the west, he's going to be getting the western votes. Atiku from the north is going to be getting northern votes. Yeah, P2OB is from the east, but the PDP and the APC already have structures in this area. So they're going to be getting some votes as well from this area, which should be enough for them to win a presidential election. So, like, for example, how will a grandmother in Nigerian small village be able to vote for someone from a different tribe whom she basically knows nothing about. If you are being scientific about this, statistically as it stands, the Labour Party loses the 2023 presidential elections. But I think they're going to learn if they lose. And they might win, maybe in 4 years' time, if they get things right, by forming mergers or doing other things right. So whenever they choose to be more scientific, whenever they choose a more scientific approach, and if the next presidential election winner, so either maybe Atiku or either the APC's candidate or the PDP's candidate turns out to actually be a positive, then I don't see any way the Labour Party remains, because Peter Obi, of course, is going to switch back to the PDP or something. So how, I mean, something positive, if the power problem in Nigeria can be solved, for example, then whoever solves the power problem in Nigeria the party remains in power for a long time, for example. So the Labour Party, yes, Peter Obi has a lot of good attitude, would I say. He knows the right things to say, but you need to create awareness. I guess you need to create awareness. He needs to do what needs to be done. He chose Baba Ahmed as his running mate, which is not a bad idea. From my own opinion. It's not a bad idea. But then, I don't think no politician in Nigeria is a saint. So it's a game full of sinners, and you have to be the better sinner to be able to win a Nigerian election. So I'm going to be making more videos to explain more why I think the APC, the PDP, and the Labour Party might be able to actually win the elections and what they need to do. But then there's a twist to it, and I'll be explaining the importance of Wike, so Nyesom Wike of the PDP, and why it's so important in the outcome of the 2023 presidential election. So watch out